we're sort of, these things do end, so here we go. Last day of class. Sadly, it's not the last day I'll be seeing. So last day of class.
Jeez, that's depressing.
And then we've got an exam, of course, coming up next week, so we're ready for that. So I'm going to be lecturing a bit, just kind of wrapping up stuff we're talking about, and then moving on to just, I hope people have had a chance to put up one final study guide that covers stuff kind of up to the end. And then you'll also want to be going back to previous study guides for material from previous exams. So think of the final exam as being, maybe roughly half of its stuff since the last exam, and then maybe another half stuff from before then, roughly. But some of the questions may have you tying together stuff from this part of the course and that part of the course. So that's where we're headed, and the study guides, as before, you're just gonna, a lot of the long answer questions are going to be a lot of things that you just see on the study guide. I won't tell you which ones, but because I don't know yet. But that's where we're going with this. So whatever worked or didn't work for you in studying for the exam, that's what we'll go with. I've got a ton of papers to hand back. I'll get those back to you today. And then I will be doing my office hours as before on Tuesday, 2 to 3, which is right before the exam if you have some last minute thing. Or set something up otherwise, short, brief questions I can answer by email. Okay. So let me sort of then launch into the lecture. This is not specifically to do with the topic of this class, but sort of kind of a depressing news story this morning is that, just really statistics, is that for the first time in a long time, life expectancy in the U.S. has actually gone down. Knocked a couple fractions of a year off of life expectancy. It's gone down for whites, both males and female, gone down for black males, it's kind of held steady for other groups. One thing that's going on, well, possible we do see an uptick in violence just in the last sort of half year or so. There may have been an increase in homicide rates. At the beginning of this class, we can fix that, whether Pinker's got it right or not. Hope that's not a sort of trend upward. Another thing going on is you may be aware of this and spend much time anywhere near downtown when we sort of this is just a map of one thing going on. Going from 1999 up to 2014, this is drug overdose deaths per 100,000 population. 1999, 2004, 2009, 2014. See, that's a pretty dramatic story. This is overwhelmingly opioids, both prescription and then marijuana as well. So that isn't necessarily associated with high levels of violence, but it's not completely unrelated. That's something we'll go through. However, let's go back to the past. Whatever our problems are nowadays, they're nothing like what the world faced in the early 20th century. Pretty horrifying video we showed last time, a documentary about 18 minutes about deaths in World War II. And so talk a little bit about just trying to understand what's going on in the 20th century with this sort of extremely high levels of violence. And we've been asking this question. It's one of the big questions in social science and anthropology. One of the big questions is, to what extent do we see human beings as motivated by, driven by, just purely sort of down-to-earth material motives? Food, sex, etc. Very basic things like that. And to what extent do we see people as being motivated by, driven by symbols, ideals, belief belief systems, for better or for worse. And we see this sort of coming up, controversies about this coming up over and over again. We see controversies about why did Captain Cook get killed? Is it kind of down to earth politics? Or is it something to do with Hawaiian religious beliefs? I mean, what role do those three things play? Why are the Aztecs committing human sacrifice on a massive scale? The only folks to do it, but they really got carried away. Why are they doing this? Well, a very simple down-to-earth explanation some people have proposed is this is a source of protein in a part of the world where there just isn't much in the way of domesticated livestock to provide protein. On the other hand, the Aztecs themselves had a whole set of religious beliefs, spent a lot of time on, about how there's this sacred overarching order above us, and in order to establish, maintain our connection with the sacred world, we bring these sacrificial victims to the center, we offer up their hearts, and if we stop doing this, the whole cosmos would fall into ruin. So, we got to keep this up. Kind of hard on the victims, but got to keep the universe moving. So, to what extent do we think that this kind of religious system of religious beliefs is really genuine, motivating people? It's not just purely about protein. Come to the 20th century and come to the extreme violence of the 20th century. And last lecture I gave, and this is a huge topic, and I'm not pretending to do more than just provide a little bit of an angle or a couple angles on it. But last time I talked about some purely material stuff that was going on in the great wars of the 20th century, World War I, World War II in particular. Something that's going on is this purely material thing, which is got a world, Europe at least, is better fed in 1900 than ever before. So, however, it is also more vulnerable to interruptions in food supply, whether it's interruptions from some countries, interruptions in food supply from overseas, or within countries, interruptions in food supply going from the countryside to the city. And so one of the things that's going on, and we talked before, looking across cultures, one of the things that's really associated with high frequencies of war is subsistence crises, insecurity. That's the kind of thing that makes people get kind of paranoid and warlike circumstances. So that's something that's going on. It's part of the story of what's going on is this sense of paranoia. Where is our next thing coming from? So that's on the purely material side of things. And some of those purely material forces are operating across countries regardless of ideology. I mean, you've got England, which is a country with, at this point, a liberal democracy, fighting for its survival and making decisions about where food gets allocated that result in mass starvation in some places, in India in particular. Not because there was some evil scheme to wipe out people in India, but just got a nation under extreme stress. The United States in this war is extremely fortunate to be a country where basic questions of food supply are not really a problem. It's one of the only countries, in war that can really say that. However, today I just talk a little bit about another side of things, which is I don't think anybody who's ever looked at this thinks that the material factors on their own are going to be an explanation of what's going on here. Particularly talking about the Second World War, where it is clear that ideology, beliefs, people's beliefs, beliefs in the Soviet Union, beliefs in Nazi Germany, people's beliefs about the nature of history and historical forces, and people's beliefs about biology